You know, I really like these movies. I wonder when they're going to make a bad one. I'm not saying this one's a bad one. I'm genuinely asking when are they going to make a bad one. Yes, everybody, I saw Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, and man, it's really good. Not without its problems for sure, but it's definitely a step up from Battle of the Realms, and I really did like Battle of the Realms. If you didn't like Battle of the Realms, number one, Cope and Seethe. Number two, I really do think that you're going to like this one. Now don't worry, this video is not going to have any spoilers in it. The movie's not out yet, and I don't want to be the guy to go out there and sprinting out spoilers and stuff, but if you have seen the movie and you do want to talk about spoilers, I do have a Discord that you guys can join and you guys can talk all about the movie, because there's a lot to talk about, because a lot of things happen that I'm not really going to spoil, but I will allude and I will talk about what I think about it in this review. Now, this movie is definitely very self-contained, very disconnected from the last two movies, and it's definitely small in scale in terms of story, but I don't really see that as a problem for the movie. In fact, I think it helps the movie a lot. The fact that the story is pretty easy to follow, I think deserves a lot of credit. It's definitely a very character-focused story with the two main characters that you probably guessed are Kenshi and Sub-Zero, and their characterizations are great. They are probably the best thing about this movie. The chemistry between Kenshi and Sub-Zero is really good. I definitely like the old man approach with Sub-Zero. We've seen it before in Deadly Alliance where he was an old man, but we don't really see him as like old man Sub-Zero. Like, we never really had like an old man Sub-Zero story, and I definitely think they make it work in this movie. We also definitely get a new approach with Kenshi and his characterization. We find Kenshi as a young warrior. He has some experience, but he's not that experienced yet. Very different from the games, because when we first find Kenshi in Deadly Alliance, he's already probably as old as the rest of the cast. He's definitely already at his prime with experience, and we've never really seen this side of Kenshi before. It's a different take on Kenshi, but at the same time, you don't feel like it's not Kenshi in terms of characterization, and it very much did work for this movie. The fight scenes in this movie are definitely a step up from the last one. I know a lot of people complained that the fights were too short and they were kind of one-sided. On this one, there are a few short fights, but the main big ones, oh my god, they are so brutal. Each side just beats each other to death. Everybody gets a hit in, everybody gets a stab, everybody puts up a good fight. There are a few characters that go up pretty quick, but again, the ones that really matter are the most satisfying to watch. And the gore in this movie. Now, you know me, I'm not really like a guy who really wants to focus on the gore. The gore doesn't really matter to me, because what matters to me in a Mortal Kombat movie is the story. If it's a good story with minimal gore, I don't care. But this movie definitely has a lot of... I think this might be the most gory Mortal Kombat movie. I'm legitimately serious. This one might be the most gory Mortal Kombat movie of all Mortal Kombat movies. And it's funny because there's only one X-ray in this movie, and it still manages to be the most gory. The villains in this movie are very good. The Black Dragon, this is probably the first time the Black Dragon feels like a legitimate threat. It feels like there are obstacles to overcome for the heroes in this movie. Very surprising. I'm even saying that about the Black Dragon, because we all know the Black Dragon as these throwaway, characters. The characters in the Black Dragon are these like throwaway characters. No, these characters put up a fight, and I'm just super surprised at how they managed to make Kano a legitimate obstacle to overcome, a legitimate person to overcome. I'm legitimately surprised how they did it. And having it not really feel forced. Like, you know why he is the way he is. You understand why he is this strong and how he became strong. In some ways it feels a little bit weird, and I'll get to that in a little bit later in this video, but for the most part, it doesn't feel forced. But it just feels super weird to have Kano be a threat. It really does, because we never have that, ever. Also, the music in this movie is very, very good. Probably more noticeable than the last two movies, and I cannot emphasize enough how much music really matters in Mortal Kombat. Good music is one of the aspects of Mortal Kombat that makes Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat. And when you have good music, this movie definitely does, it makes all the difference in terms of my view on a Mortal Kombat product. Now, this movie definitely isn't without flaws. There are a few points in this movie where I feel like the animation is just a little bit choppy. I can definitely see the budget, probably not as noticeable as Battle of the Realms, but it is, you can definitely tell, but it's kept to a minimum. And I kind of expected that going in. These movies have a budget, and I'm okay with it as long as, for the most part, everything else animates well. And it does. It really definitely does, but I can definitely see how this can bother some people, and it kind of bothered me a little bit, but it's definitely kept to a minimum. But I will say it's a flaw of a movie. And the second biggest one, I think a lot of people are gonna have a big problem with. I had a big problem with it. I was groaning and I was saying, no, 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 you were doing so well. This movie was doing so good. And then this happened. And yeah, I don't like it. I didn't like it at all. It is literally the ending of the movie. It's not the same as Battle of the Realms where the entire third act is the problem with the movie. It's literally like the end. Like the third act for the most part in this movie is good. It's just literally the end. And you'll know what I'm talking about when you see the movie. You'll definitely figure it out once it shows up. But I will say that aspect of the movie, I'm trying not to spoil anything because remember guys, I don't want to be the guy to spoil anything out here because the movie's not out yet. But again, I will say that aspect of the movie is kept to a minimum and it's thrown away almost as fast as it's introduced. And I'm okay with that. I'm glad that happened. It's just that I don't know how to say things without spoiling things, but they could have used that to fix the rest of the stuff in the movie. And I'm wondering why they didn't do that. But I'm okay because at least they threw that stuff away as soon as it was introduced, as soon as it was introduced. It definitely doesn't ruin the movie. One bad thing about a movie does not ruin a movie. I know a lot of people like to write off Scorpion's revenge because of Scorpion killing Goro. A lot of people like to write off Battle of the Realms because of the last 15 minutes of the movie, which those things I don't like and I don't agree with. I get, but I'm not going to throw away the entire movie because of those aspects that are minimal compared to the rest of the good stuff in the movie. And if you're not able to do that, you're just straight up molding. Overall, I really did like this movie. I think 3D era fans are really going to like this movie as well. And it's just really, really good to know that there's a movie out there with the lead character being a 3D era character with Kenshi. I'm definitely calling on you guys to support this movie. Definitely buy it when it comes out. If you can't afford the full price, rent it. It's pretty cheap to rent. I want to be getting more animated movies, and the way to do that is to show your support. Because hopefully, eventually, we'll get an animated show, because I really do think that Mortal Kombat would work best in an animated show format. I know the movie's not out yet, but when you do see the movie, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments below, or if you have seen the movie, again, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to join the discussion on my Discord. The link is down below. And remember to follow me on all socials. I'll see you guys in the next video.